Well, thank you for watching this video in which we'll cover 10 do's and don'ts for completing your reimbursement form. We'll look at 7 do items and 3 don't items. So number 1 on the list, please do create legible copies of your reimbursement form and your receipts. I know this sounds like common sense, but oftentimes in the rush of getting things to us, parents oftentimes don't take that second look at what they're sending to us. And so what we receive is blurred copies, or if there are copies made by an iPhone or Android, we get the Star Wars effect where the person kind of takes the picture like this at an angle, and we're looking at a photo of the document kind of like this. So please don't do that. Please make sure that what you send to us is really clear. We can tell exactly what's being purchased and the dollar amount. Because if not, we're just going to have to delay reimbursing you. We're going to have to get back in touch with you. You'll have to rescan, resend those receipts to us, and you might have to redo your reimbursement form. I hope not, but please make sure when you are sending anything to us for reimbursement that we can clearly see exactly what it is you've purchased, and then also clearly see the dollar amounts that you're requesting reimbursement for. So number 2, please do make sure that if you're sending to us, let's say more than 3 receipts, that you have ordered those receipts in the same order that you have listed them on the reimbursement form. Oftentimes we will get stacks, I'm not kidding, like this thick of receipts, and they're just in a jumbled random order, and it takes a lot of time to go through the receipts and match the receipt to the items on the reimbursement form. It slows down the entire process. It delays getting reimbursement to you, and it delays finishing your reimbursement so we can get on to everyone else's. So please help us to help you get your reimbursement as quickly as possible by sequencing or ordering your receipts in the same order that you listed them on your reimbursement form. They'll help everybody out tremendously. Number 3, please do remember that here at we do not have a dollar limit or a percentage limit on what you can spend for technology or group lessons, tutoring. In the past, just last school year, there were some limits on group lessons and some other things, but this year we don't have those limits for specifically group lessons, and at we've chosen not to put in any type of limit on the dollar amount for technology, computers, hardware, software. So please remember that you can spend your full amount on those items. Just a word on that, some school districts have chosen to put limits, either dollar amounts or percentages, based on the funding that goes to the parent. We have not done that. I really don't see a need for that, and it's not required, so we're not doing that. So number 4, please do provide formal documentation of any foreign exchange numbers, currency on a receipt, because if you buy something outside of Canada, so most often families buy things from Amazon.com or a bookseller, retailer, vendor who's based in the U.S. And of course, they've priced their items in U.S. dollars, and we need, in order for us to reimburse you the Canadian dollar amount, we have to see an official foreign exchange percentage conversion of the U.S. dollar to Canadian, or maybe you've bought it in some other country. That happens too. So wherever you've bought it, if the price isn't listed on the receipt in Canadian dollars, we need you to provide an official document that shows us that conversion. Sometimes it can be a screenshot of, and not your whole credit card statement, but a screenshot from your credit card statement where Visa or MasterCard has actually done the conversion to Canadian dollars, and it's shown right there on your statement. We can take a screenshot of that, or you can go to any website that does a foreign exchange rate for you as their service, and you can take a snapshot of that. just make sure that if you use a website that the date that you used for that currency exchange is the same date on which you purchased it. So we just have to make sure that the exchange rate is correct, because during an audit, we're required to show that. So it's not just our rule that we're making up to make things harder for you. That's something that's expected of us, and if we haven't done it, then the auditors, well, we'll just leave it at that. So just make sure that you have done the currency exchange in an official way. Handwriting it on the form is not sufficient. We have to have an official screenshot or printout of that foreign exchange rate. Number 5, please do choose to write the name on your reimbursement form that you use, the same name on your reimbursement form as you use to enroll or register or notify your son or daughter in our home ed program. This is rare, but it's becoming less rare, where parents have an alias or they just have different names. And so the legal name that we are looking for when we get your form to match your legal name that's in our database to the reimbursement form, we can't find the name that you've used on the reimbursement form because it's an alias or just some other name that you did not use when you registered your child with us. That really delays things and causes a lot of confusion here and wastes a lot of time, to be honest. So please make sure that you are using the same name on the reimbursement form as you used to register your child in our program. Number 6, do ensure that the dollar amount which you've written on your reimbursement form matches what's on the receipt. So what the problem that we oftentimes see is an amount that's perhaps handwritten on the reimbursement form doesn't match any amount on the receipt that we have. It's almost like the parent is expecting us to just pick or determine or somehow calculate from 6 or 7 purchases the amount that's on the reimbursement form. We can't do that. That's impossible. So please make sure that the number that you've written, the dollar amount that you've written on your reimbursement form matches a number on your receipt. Now, sometimes you have to hand calculate the amount on your receipt because you've mixed school items with personal items or other reasons, right? So maybe you have a list of 10 things you've purchased, but you're only asking reimbursement for 6. So you need to tell us which 6 that you want reimbursement for, and then give us a sum total of those 6 on the receipt. Circle, highlight, whatever those 6 items. Add them up, come up with a total, and then put that amount that you've handwritten on the receipt or some other document put that amount onto the reimbursement form itself. So we just need to make sure that we can match. There's a one-to-one match between the number that's on the reimbursement form and the number we're seeing on the receipt. Just a side note, this is a little bonus item. Please don't, this will be a don't item, please don't mix personal items with school items for which you want reimbursement. When you go to a checkout line, either to Costco, Walmart, anywhere, please either run through, pay for your personal items separately from the school items. Sometimes even like at Costco, I believe you can say, please ring these up separately, even though you'll pay, once, but they can separate the items and give subtotals so we can find easily the amount you're requesting, and it keeps you from having to go through your long receipt and highlight or circle just those items that you want reimbursement for and then add them all up. It's really easier for you. It's certainly easier for us. So please, as a don't item, please don't mix personal with school items. Just take that extra moment to separate that process and that transaction. It really makes everything go more smoothly and more quickly. Number 7, Please do use an individual line on your reimbursement form to write the information related to one receipt. Do not itemize each item in its individual cost that comprises the total receipt amount. Basically, what we're asking for is on the on the reimbursement form, you have separate lines. Please do not itemize every single thing that you've purchased. If you purchase 10 things, we don't need to see 10 items, listed on that form. We just need to see the total amount from that purchase on one entry line, right? So if you bought 10 things at Staples, you're going to have on one line, Staples, $100.20. Even though you might have purchased 6 or 10 things, that's fine. We don't need to see an itemized list. We just need to see the final amount. So please don't itemize your receipts. So that's actually a due item. So please do use one individual line per receipt. Let's get on to the don'ts. Number 8, don't separate receipts per child. Because your funding, your home ed funding, is in a family account or a pooled family account, if you have 2 or more children, all your funding for each child is added together in a parent family account. And so your reimbursement requests will be based on that family account, not based on each individual child's account. We put everything into one account. We sum all that money together. So you don't need to use a separate reimbursement form per child. It's just per family. Okay? And then number 9, please don't use separate forms, reimbursement forms for each personal child. And this next one is related to that, where you don't have to separate out each child's receipts either. You don't even if you're using one reimbursement form, you don't have to group one child's receipts if it's that clean cut. Oftentimes resources are shared among children, but if certain receipts are for specific children, you don't have to take that extra time to put, let's say Johnny has 4 items, so you're going to write all Johnny's things 4 and then Susie's and back to the next child. It doesn't matter which order they show on the reimbursement form. It's a family reimbursement form, so just put them all there together. But just remember, please use one line per receipt. And then number 10, I use number 10 just to repeat the item of the request to please don't itemize your receipts. We see this frequently. It doesn't take too much time, if any, on our side, but it's wasting your time because sometimes your receipts are quite involved, and we see that a mom or dad has taken a lot of time to write out every single thing that's on that receipt. And I just think, wow, that's a lot of time that parent took that wasn't necessary. So save yourself time by knowing that you don't have to itemize. Please don't itemize your receipt. Again, one line, one receipt. So that's it for the list of do's and don'ts, and hopefully this video will make the process of completing the reimbursement form much more easily done and more quickly done for you and for us too, so that we can get the money to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching.